Welcome to the Success Pick and Mix podcast. I'm your host, Nicky Raby, a professional pick and mixer. I'm a personal brand coach, a speaker, an actor, a creator, and a podcaster. I'm on a mission to help you find and create your version of success. Your pick and mix of life and business on your terms. A blend that complements your personality, your goals, and your circumstances. Since 2018, I've been sharing interviews and mini episodes to help you unlock your next step, to make it real and make it happen. Round here, we dream big. We go for the ideal version. We talk about money and make moves our future selves would be proud of. This podcast is free and available for you whenever you need it. So do rate, review, and subscribe for new episodes. If you want to go deeper with my support, check out my freebies house and unlock the rooms you choose. nickyraby.com/freebies house. I also have workshops, programs, and one-on-one bespoke offerings. For prices and availability, go to nickyraby.com. Thank you, as always, for spending some time with me and my guests. Now, on to today's episode. In today's episode, I'm talking to my lovely friend and one of the bravest, strongest women that I know, Holly Matthews. And she's an actress, a vlogger, an influencer, a business and mindset coach, and she's a mum to 2 little girls. In this episode, we go deep because we can. We know each other. We want to dispel some myths that may be around the creative industries in which we work. And hopefully you'll take away lots of strategies that will help you to feel empowered and to get what you want and to know your worth. It's really, really important. So sit back and enjoy the episode. Hiya, Holly.
Hi, Nicky.
How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. Hey, tell everybody, I'm sure we know you. We've seen you around, you're online, all that stuff. Tell me what you do. It's like blind date. What's your name and where do you come from? But what do you do? And yeah.
And
tell
who
me more about you?
I like that you think that everybody will just know who I am. But yeah, I'm an actress, a vlogger, a mindset coach. What else do I do? Loads of stuff. I do positivity workshops and online courses, and I basically just try to never work for anybody else and potter around drinking tea all day.
Yes. So we chat loads about this, about having a portfolio career and basically not doing what everybody else does in terms of the 9 to 5. And I love your phrase of not being excited about a bank holiday.
Oh my gosh, no.
Like, oh yeah, guess what? May's going to be a great month because there's like 2 bank holidays. How did you know that you could do that from an early age, that you knew that? I know it's a big question, so yeah. I'm going straight in, but I know you, so it's fine. But like, how did you know that you were going to do your own thing, I guess?
I think because of coming in similar to you, Nicky, and being an actor, as an actor, you really one-track minded. In the beginning, you're so much, I'm an actor, that's all I am. And I think I then realised that actually, as an actor, you, without meaning to, don't work all the time, even though you desperately try to. And so I realised that actually I had to find ways to work around acting. And so I started to just make up jobs. So whatever it was, at the beginning, it would have been things like working in a bar, or it would have been I cleaned houses, I dressed up as a yogurt pot, whatever, just really random stuff. Any way
it's all
that
the glamour, isn't it?
Such glamour, and it would be stuff like that. And so I think I did that for a number of years, and then I just didn't really stop. And I just realized that actually, if you can think of an idea and then monetize that idea and then run with it, even if it's not your forever thing, like not everything has to be forever, then it can make you money for a bit, and then you just do something else and you change. And I think I look back, I mean, I'm 33. I had to think about that there as well. I'm 33, and I look at it now and I'm like, I was saying this yesterday on a chat with somebody, and I'm like, actually, this is my life. Yeah. I don't think I imagined it was going to be like that. I thought I was going to be just an actor in Hollywood. And now I'm like, actually, but my life's really good. Like, I do what I want. And that's kind of, to me, that feels like success, like just making up things, doing that, and it's fun, and I like the excitement of that, not doing the same thing all the time. So I don't think it was ever really a plan. It happened firstly because of necessity of being an actor and having to find other things. And now I'm like, that's the only way I want to work. I can't imagine having to do the same thing forever. I'm not the same person I was a few minutes ago, kind of. I'm going to change, and so are you. So I feel like it's a weird thing to be focused on just being one thing for the rest of your life.
But that is a brilliant thing that you can do that, because so many people feel restricted by the boxes that they have to be in, or what somebody told them, or who they are, or where they sit in their family, or all this stuff. We hear it from coaching clients all the time. I'm not the kind of person who does this. Can I actually charge? What if people think my idea is rubbish? How important has mindset been for you?
Oh, it's everything. I mean, it is absolutely everything. And I sort of cultivated a positive mindset as an actor. And I was quite young when I started. I was always a weird hippie child, but I knew that, I started in TV at 11, and I went to a normal school, a pretty rough school at times, and it was hard work, and I was on telly, and so I had to learn how to not feel rubbish about people being awful to me. Yeah. And I did that really young, and then I think that obviously that continued as an actor, having to bounce back, and the mindset thing, it's everything. I wouldn't be able to do the stuff that I do, or deal with the stuff that I deal with, if I didn't get on top of my mind and realize that I can. Yeah. And realize actually, even though people will often say, I'm sure you get the same thing, Nicky, people will be like, you're so positive, and I'm like, yes, I work on it, like I work all the time on it, like yeah. I'm not. I think there's a slight set point for people in terms of mindset and positive. I think there is, science tells us there's a certain set point, but there's a massive chunk that we decide, and that massive chunk you're in control of. And I just refuse to let outside circumstances dictate how I'm going to feel. It's an obsession. Like I want us to be happy, and I want to feel happy. And so I just work on it a lot. And I think when people say to you like, oh, you're just so positive, it's almost insulting. I know they don't mean to be, but I'm like, yeah, but I wake up every day and I meditate, and I do gratitudes, and I focus on, shifting my mindset and reframing things and doing things that are going to make me feel good. And that, it's like saying to somebody who's got ripped abs, wow, you're just naturally really ripped. And they're thinking, I went to the gym every week. I've
been drinking my body weight in smoothies and, working on myself.
Stuff. I don't know what they do, because I'm not that person and I'm not ripped. But yeah, and it's like, you wouldn't say that to those people. You wouldn't say to somebody who, really knows that they're an expert in something, that they, oh, that's amazing, you just naturally done that. And I'm sure there's a set point, an element of set point with positive mindset. But yeah, I'm looking at my books on my bookshelf, and there's a load of stuff on there that are books that I read every day, and things and skills that I have practiced and continue to practice to help me with my mindset. And yeah, the mindset is everything. Basically, mindset is everything.
It's so true. And feeling good, I think Danielle Laporte says this, feeling good is the whole point. And I very quickly realised in my early acting career of auditioning and kind of hoping for the best and waiting for the phone to ring, and just kind of being in that, like, I'm working or I'm not, or I'm struggling or I'm winning. And I very quickly realised that was not for me, because when I felt like I was always in extremes, like I wasn't in the middle of the wavy line, that was really hard for myself. And I think what we've both done is really carve a business out of, and I feel really weird about saying personal brands, because, it is quite a new term that has been coined. But how have you done that? And how have you been able to pull all your skills together and become this personal brand whereby people are interested in you and what you offer, and you can exchange that in terms of money or value, or in a way that suits you, I guess?
I think it starts from what you were saying about, making it work for you. I think when I became a mom, particularly, I realised that acting wasn't really suitable overall. I'm not saying you can't be an actor and be a mum, you can, but it was, for me, it was a lifestyle thing where I was starting to find it more difficult, and I was having less and less enjoyment in it because it wasn't my only priority.
Yeah.
And I think that then I started to realize that I had to do other things, and ultimately there are certain skills that I have, most notably being able to talk and be comfortable in my own skin is a skill. And I realized that actually that was something that it was something that other people wanted to learn how to do and how to be comfortable in their own skin. And I think when I was early doors being an actor, I found it hard, embarrassing, and I was a creative to monetize things. I was really lucky in the fact that my husband was in business and very black and white. He was autistic, so he was very black and white in his thinking, and he taught me very straight away. He was like, you need to make, don't just be a flowery like actor, you need to package yourself up as a brand, like you need to do that. And he definitely at the start was the one that stopped me from just being a wishy-washy actor that was scared to put a price on things. And then once I realized, actually, once you build an audience, you can sell whatever you want. Like I just whatever you want to do, whatever your thing is, if you have enough eyes on you, you can do whatever you want. And I think then I realized that actually, for me personally, you can tell when people will look at my stuff that I tend to just be authentic and what feels good for me. I know the word authentic's become like a buzzword, but real, whatever it is, I didn't do the whole going to university thing, the safe route. I never did any of that. So my set point is jump in with both feet and work it out after. Yeah. And in anything that I've done, I go, this is an idea, and then I go, okay, I'll just do it. And then I think that lack of worrying about that makes me just jump in and do it. And I think over time there's been certain things that suddenly that became a brand, that became me, whether it's me on YouTube and just talking, splurging out my thoughts like vomit, and then, putting that across social media. And I worked with a business coach, and actually she was very useful for me in stopping me. And she stopped me before I got to that point, really. I mean, I think I sort of dabbled, but before I started that whole thinking I had to be serious to be taken seriously.
Right. Because that's what everybody else does. Because
everybody else is like, this is me and these are my qualifications and this one. And I've never been to see a business coach or a coach that I've went, can you send me your paperwork, please? I don't care. If you can get the best out of me, then you get the best out of me. And if that's all I'm interested in. And she actually, at a time when I was pretty rubbish, just helped me she just went to me, just be you and be it big.
Yeah.
And I think actually that was such a positive thing for me, because for a time I was going, I'm plate spinning and going, is this okay? I'm just this girl. I was underplaying everything. I'm just this girl from Newcastle who's an actor, and I've winged life and I've hustled, and all of those things are true. But then on the other side, that's a good thing. I'm 33. I do what I want. I've never had a proper job. That's a tick in the box. But I think for a time I sort of underplayed that. And now I just go, actually, that is my brand. My brand is that I be as real as possible. I put out there when I'm rubbish, and I put out there when I'm good. And I don't pretend that I've got everything. I know what I'm doing, because I'm learning all the time. And I think it's just recognizing that you can be a brand now. And I'm not saying we've spoken before, Nicky, about the whole influencer thing and the whole thing that we see online, and I'm not knocking that for 1 second. And we've said this, I'm all for that. If that works for you, if you can make your life about that and make some money, and good on you, absolutely good on you. But I think I think people, there needs to be some substance to that as well. And so I do obviously my brand is about mindset and it's about positivity and that kind of thing, but I think there does need to be some substance to what you're putting out there. And I do learn, but I just do it in a way that feels right to me. And if it doesn't feel right, I just don't do it. And maybe some people could see that as lazy and stuff. I see people, I'm these 6-figure earners, and I'm doing this and I'm doing that, and I just think, oh, it sounds so much hard work.
And also, it's not about. Sometimes it's just facts. Within 2 days I was earning 8 figures, and
I'm not necessarily interested in just seeing a number in somebody's bank account. We talk very honestly that we want to earn very well for what we do, and we do, but it's not just about the money for us. It's not like, oh, look, we're safe and secure and that's that. It's like, what can we do now? How can we make this work in the world? And like with passive income, I know that we have both benefited from creating courses and doing stuff that can cook, I guess, while we have the creative headspace to be able to do other things. And that's been key. But there's a lot of mindset stuff around that as well. You know, can I do this? How do I make it work? Can I work the technology? But, you know, you just have to try it, don't you?
And you learn all the time, and you don't have to get it perfect. You don't have to be perfect to get started. You just try and you get better. Yeah. You know, I look back on my stuff as will you, and you look back on your beginning stuff and you go, actually, that was a bit rubbish, but it wasn't rubbish at the time, and people probably bought it, and people probably got some benefit from it. And it might not have been as pretty, and it might not have functioned quite the way you wanted it to, but these are things that you learn, and I don't think you need to get so stuck in every single detail being perfect, because actually you'll just get stuck in this procrastination, this perfection rubbish, and you won't move forward. It just doesn't have to be perfect. You can do it, and as long as you acknowledge your growth, and because I find it very inspiring when I see top coaches and they're going, actually this didn't work for me, and I did this, and I shifted, and I changed, and I moved, and I did this because it wasn't working for me anymore, it didn't feel right. I've lots of respect for that. These are just think, yeah, well, I'm with you on this journey, and I think that's the truth. And you and I, in some ways, maybe it's the northern thing, I don't know, but we have certain similarities in our branding in terms of we just try to keep it quite real, and that makes us sound mega gangster, keeping it real. But we are gangster.
I think what we're doing is that we're working with people perhaps at their most vulnerable state, or at that, you know, the amount, I don't know if you've had it, but I've certainly had it, where I've had coaching clients that at the end of the session, they go, oh, it felt so good to say that out loud. I haven't told anyone this, by the way. And I'm thinking, wow, like you haven't told your husband, you haven't told your wife, you haven't told your friend, nothing. And it's just been like this idea, this business idea maybe, that's been cooking in their head. And I just think, oh, wow, I'm in such a privileged position. And I always, like you do, endeavour to show up with heart and soul, and like, don't worry, you're okay, you're going to be taken care of. And the amount of times where, because I don't do discovery calls of like, I'll give you an hour for free, it's like we put up brilliant stuff online all the time, and I feel like people know us already, but sometimes people say, oh, I just need to have a quick 5-minute call with you before a book, and it's literally just to check that you're going to be a nice person, and you are who you say you are, and you're going to be kind.
I agree on that, and the whole discovery call thing is an interesting one to me as well, because I think, again, that's one of those rule book things where it's like, well, this is how you do it. You do your life coaching thing, and you, whatever qualification or whatever you want to do, and then you have to learn to do discovery calls, and you will give people a set amount of time, and then they will book. I've if maybe once, twice, I've done a discovery call of any kind, because I put enough stuff out there that you know what I'm about, and you know whether you're going to vibe with me and we're going to get on. If anything, it's more for me if I want to work with you. And, you know, I want to know whether actually I want to come into this shared journey, because that's what it is ultimately. I want to be able to get the best out of you, and you want to feel good, and we want to do that. But nowadays it's that whole boundary thing. Personally, for me, I'm not working with people one-on-one very much. It's going to be very limited, because I want to go bigger. I want to do bigger things. I want to make it work for me, and I want more time with my family, and actually being paid by the hour isn't enough for me. I don't feel like I can kind of get my message, which is a powerful message, and I don't feel like that can be just one-on-one always. But if I am working with somebody one-on-one, you better believe that I want to work with somebody that lights me up as well. Right. Then that's the new thing for me, because it didn't used to be that. It used to be, I help everyone, I help you all, and
I'll come round to your house and I'll clean it and cook you dinner afterwards, because I just want to give, man.
I just want to give everything of me. And then what happens is, as you know, is that you're drained to hell, and they leave up and energized, and you leave feeling like you can't people for 3 days.
Yeah, and that you can't drive the car home.
It's like, why did that energy vampire sap my life? I don't want that. And I know it's not, and people who are like that, it's not their fault, and that's why we do what we do, because we want to help. And it's not. I'm joking when I criticize, but equally, I want a good life, and I have a good life, but I want to be lit up. I want to feel excited about what I do, and I want the people that I do work with, I want them to feel empowered. I don't want them to just try and be me, or try and take my energy and then not have the skills to be able to do that going forward. That doesn't interest me at all. I want them to leave going, I've got this now, I've got this, I can do this. That's what I want them to do.
I would love to talk a bit more about boundaries and saying no, because you and I both get some interesting requests or some funky inbox messages sometimes, and because we're intuitive, and because we feel, and because we have heart and all the rest of it, sometimes it can really play on your mind. Sometimes I'll get this email, and certainly in the early days I was like, oh, maybe I didn't do this, or I should have done that, or oh, I feel a bit weird about that kind of stuff. How have you been able to use your mindset practically to know what to let in and know what to leave at the door?
Yeah, I think that it's such a big one. Boundaries is really key, especially if you're working within this kind of industry, and or you're working in this heartfelt way, because you do care, and you and I both care a massive amount about the people that we work with, and those, I feel a level of commitment to people and responsibility that people that follow me online, will, that they come to me because they've never spoken to anybody before. I mean, I did a recent podcast on the True Geordie show, which his base is really male, and young males at that. And it wasn't people that followed me before. And I've had young lads messaging me saying, how do I get into meditation and stuff like that? And it's amazing. I love it. I'm so excited.
And it was such a good episode, because it just, props to them as well, because it just showed you as you, and they so could have easily gone, go and have a look at the episode, it's great, but they so easily could have gone, well, this is our format and these are the standard questions that we're going to ask, but they didn't. They went with you, not against you.
Yeah, massively. And it's opened up a really interesting audience, but a massive influx of new people. And I think the boundary thing is key, that I've really had to kind of go, and emotionally for me as well, because over the last year, and maybe those that have followed me will know this, but my husband died last year, and the journey that I've had has been very much in the public eye. And so people contact me and come to me about that and have their own personal journey. But I have to protect my own self as well with that. And I really very quickly learned that had to be the case. Yeah. And so I think it's just a commitment to going, I can't be my best self if I'm giving everything. Yeah. Also that, like you said, you touched upon, this is our business, and
yes,
have to get paid. Like what I do and what you do, Nicky, is a skill, and we work hard at what we do. And if people are willing to put the money and commitment into themselves, because it does come down to finances. At the end of the day, this is my job. It's not just a flowery thing that I do. Yes, we're lucky that we kind of it's integrated into who we are as people as well, and it doesn't feel like work. Right. But at the end of the day, I also have to pay the bills, and so it's knowing that you can't just give that away for free.
No, but you would never rock up at a beauty salon going, would you mind, I'm just going to take all my clothes off, would you mind just massaging me for free? Like, it wouldn't happen. Or you wouldn't just go into a supermarket and say, I'm just going to take these chicken breasts, see if I like them, but if I don't, I'm going to bring them back.
Yeah, I think what I tend to do now is, obviously I have a massive amount of empathy when people are going through stuff, and I'll always send them a message. I tend to voice note because it's quicker, but I'll voice note somebody and I'll say, look, this is what it is, and then I'll just guide them to something that I've already done. So yeah. My most recent thing came about, the Happy Me project online course that I put together. It's a 21-day course. And that really came about organically for this exact reason. And the reason being that I was getting an influx of messages, people going, how are you as good as you are with what you've had going on? Right. And I couldn't answer it in one thing. I couldn't answer it in a voice note. And I felt a level of responsibility going, but these people need this. That person that just sent me that message about their husband dying, or their auntie who's ill, or, you know, the pain that they're going through. I can't just go, book in with me and we'll do something in 6 months' time, because that person needs something now. It was a really organic thing when that was put together, that I went, it needs to be a low end price. It's 30 quid. It needs to be really practical, really basic, so they can just get on it and do it. And I put that together so that when I speak to those people and they'll message me, and I can go, hey, it's, you know, I'm really sorry to hear what you're going through, and give them, have a level of normal human interaction, and then go, look, this may be something for you, it may not be, but this is why I am how I am. These are my basics. This is my set point. This is what I do every day. Grab that and let me know how you get on. And actually, as much as there will always be people that go, well, then you've monetized something that's, that you should just be kind. I'm like, yeah, but that's my business as well. And also, I just genuinely don't feel I can help people in one message. No. I'm one person. My inbox, I have hundreds and hundreds of messages a day. That's not a joke. Across social media, it's insane. And getting through that amount and giving people the respect and time that they deserve would be too much.
And you're never going to be the kind of person who goes, you okay, hun? Like, you're a practical person that you're going to, whether, so what if it's monetized? You're trying to give something that is actually going to help. And when you're in those situations of dark times, you don't just want, sitting under your duvet with, your head under it as well is fine for 5 minutes. But after a while, you're like, what next then? What's the solution? How do I get out of this?
Absolutely. And I think that's the thing, and that's what it is. But those boundaries are key. Those boundaries, and whatever you are doing, you have a responsibility to yourself. I was speaking to a lady this weekend at one of my workshops one of the biggest things we talked about was boundaries. And she was telling me about some problems that she was having at work, and how, her boss had crossed a line and she hadn't helped her out with somebody else. And when somebody else had been mean, somebody else should have stepped in and done something about it. Or when her workload was too much. And I said to her, yeah, but where's your responsibility in this? Where is your responsibility to yourself to say no, to put those boundaries in place? I know we find it hard to say no. Women particularly find it hard to say no. And you need to learn. You need to, I say this a lot to people, flex your no muscle.
Yes.
You need to say no. Flex. People can tweet that
as well.
No muscle, because you need to. And even if it is genuinely just starting with small stuff, saying no and not apologizing for it. Oh, hang on, are you still there?
I am.
Let's go. Not apologizing for that. You don't need to apologize always for saying no. Sometimes you can't do things. This week, I really wanted to go down to London and do something with the brain tumor charity. I've got too much on. I'm going to burn myself out if I don't say no. I had to message them and say, I'm really sorry. Can I do it remotely, or can I do something else for you? Because it was a filming thing. And I had to say no. And it was a charitable thing. It's something I'm a massive supporter of, the brain tumor charity. But I couldn't do it. The girls, my daughters, need me at home at the minute, and that's it. And so I said no. And I know for some people that would be awful and terrifying, and they'd send themselves into a tailspin because they would want to please everybody. And it's not about that. You'll please nobody if you try and please everybody.
Right. And if you're pouring from an empty cup, especially if you've got kids at home, if you've got emotional stuff going on, you're not showing up in your best way if you're coming to the table with that. I'd love to just chat a little bit more about money and how to have those conversations of actually asking to be paid, because I hear so much from my clients of like, oh, I just did this freebie, or I don't feel like I'm ready to charge yet, or all of that. How do you get the money in the door?
I assume the money's coming in the door. Like I
love it. Yeah.
The way I look at it, and I see, and I get quite cross about this with clients, and I'm probably going to put people off ever coming to see me again. But I get quite cross about this because I'm like,
we'll just sit and chat, and we'll do that instead.
one of my clients said to me, so her business is not in sort of coaching or anything like that, but her thing was, it is a similar, she basically kind of a makeover type thing. People come to her and she does this whole makeover thing in photo shoots and stuff. She's a great girl. And she was saying to me, so they've paid a little bit now and they're going to pay a little bit, and I'm like, yeah, but they're there tomorrow with you, aren't they? And she's like, yeah. I'm like, so why haven't they paid? She's like, I don't know. And I'm like, yeah, but hang on. I'm saying, like, she's like, but they haven't had the product yet. And I'm like, sorry, if you book a spa day on Groupon or whatever, you don't go, well, I haven't had my spa day yet, so I'm not paying for it. That doesn't happen. No. If you want my services, you pay for it up front, you pay for it. I might give an option as a broken down payment, set up online stuff. I might do that. But at the end of the day, if I'm offering you, no, you don't go into a shop and go, can I pay for this jumper next week? That doesn't happen. Yeah. You just expect to be paid. And so I think that's the thing with me, is what I will always do, the way I sort of phrase it with people is, because I also want to know they're not going to waste all of my time. And yes. People do. So people will go, oh, can I want to talk to you, and this is my thing. And then you get into an email back and forth. And I'm like, I'm actually coaching you here. So no. So I will always pass it back. You and I, Nicky, both have websites that are fully equipped for people to know what we do and how much it is and what they can get. There is no more nonsense. They don't need this. The rest is chatter, and it's trying to get stuff for free. So the way I look at it is, somebody emails me and say, look, I would like to look at your coaching. I say, fab. Here's the link. Have a little look. See what you think. Come back to me with any questions that you have. This is what I do. This is how I work. I explain that on an email, or however they contact me. Then they can go away in their own leisure. If they come back to me and say, yeah, I really like, I'd like to book some time in, I say, this is my free time. I'll be there. I'll be available on these dates. Once you've paid through PayPal, let me know and we will book in a date. And then I will send you something to go through and fill out for me. I assume that they're going to. If they don't do that, then I can't help them. And if they won't show up and do what they've got to do and commit and do that. If I wanted to book a coaching package with somebody, which obviously I do, I will go, I'll learn about them, I'll go on their website, I'll go, right, can I book in those days? I'll pay for it and we're done. If anybody's doing anything else with you, they're messing about. They're wasting your time. And I know
they're not valuing their own services either.
They're not. They're not. And they're not. It's usually the problem. It's usually their problem that they're going to, when you actually get with those people and you work with them, usually their levels of commitment to stuff, how we do one thing is how we do everything. Usually that is their problem. I had a girl for a long time that her biggest thing was that she didn't take responsibility for who she was and for her own feelings. She just didn't take responsibility. And unfortunately, the payoff for her of being a victim was too great. She would get an inbox full of, are you okay, Huns? And she would get all that stuff, and the payoff was too great. And she was always an issue with money, and it was really at the beginning of my coaching journey. And so at the beginning, I was just happy to get what I would take the scraps I could get, right. Until I realised actually these types of people will take the mick. And she actually bought an online course off me, which she had for weeks. And then when the second part of the payment, it was a 2-part payment thing that I'd done. When the second part went out, she freaked and asked if she could have the money back. And I just went, no, absolutely not. Yeah. And you know what? And the girl that I was working with somebody else on that project. It was the Boss Knit Academy. And I was working with another girl, a psychologist friend of mine, Caroline. And she was like, oh God, but what if she can't pay the bills? And I said, you know what? That's her. We're doing her a favour, because that's her problem. Her problem is that people wipe her bum for her and they pick up the pieces for her. And actually, it's a good lesson. If you buy something, that's it. You've bought it. Now go and do the work. And that's it. And I think the expectation is it. So if those that are listening to this, or whatever their industry is, expect payment. Why would you expect? Why are they getting it for free?
Yeah, I negotiated twice last year on my acting rate, and we were taught, weren't we? Like, oh, just take the money and run. Just say yes. Like the fact they're going to give you a car, like, oh, just keep your head down, go. And there was one point where I had 2 days filming, and they wanted a third day, and they came back with some ropey rate, and my agent was like, no, babe, you're not doing that. He didn't say babe, he doesn't call me babe. In fact, he's quite serious. He'd be like, no, Nicky. But and we hung back, and he said, don't worry, they'll come back, because they're not going to find what they need, and they'll call you back and they'll pay you full rate. And it was good. Like, that was great. So don't be afraid, actually, because you want to attract the right people.
Yeah, you can go, and again, I'm always learning, because a lot of the time I will just base it on what they're about and who comes to me, because I work with a lot of brands, and depending on what it is, I'll obviously shift the payment wise. But I've found that actually when you go bigger, when you put a bigger price on what you do, people respect it more. Because if I, certainly in terms of coaching, if I saw somebody that was charging £25 for an hour, I would assume they were new and they weren't, that's what they did.
Yeah,
I would, and that's whether I'd quite like to pay I'd love to pay £25 an hour for you, Nicky, but you're worth a hell of a lot more than that, you know. So, but if
£25 a minute, babe.
Exactly. I mean, my mum's actually a life coach, as it goes. You wouldn't know this, but she is, and she will charge that kind of money sometimes. And I'm like, and they come to a house, they get cups of tea, and
have a sleepover.
They get their hair washed. I don't know what goes on, but
sounds really nice, actually, just for a little break. I know how busy you are talking about boundaries, so I just wanted to finish off by, could you give me like 3 of your favourite books, 3 books that have like changed your life, or you know, a person online or a video or something like that that's
gosh,
or even one, just whatever you got.
I've got loads. That's why The Power of Now. I know it's an obvious one. I guess it's a really popular one. But The Power of Now, I go back to it and I read it at different points in my life, and I get it more every time I read it. And I get it more as I age and as I have experiences. That is the big one. A one that I think it was you, Nicky, who actually told me about it, if I'm right, and it is, I'm going to forget the name of it. It's going to be like the Big Leap. Was it The Big Leap?
Oh yeah, I love that book. It's one of my
I love it as well. The Big Leap, and a Brian Tracy book. And I always get this wrong.
Eat Your Frog.
Eat That Frog. I always forget which. I'm like, eat your frog, eat their frog, eat his frog.
The frog. All the frogs.
I love that one, and I think it's just because I have the image of it in my head. So in the mornings, I always think, Holly, just eat your frog. Yeah. Just get on with it. Just get on with the thing that you need to do. I'm also reading Nick Pigeon's book, Now Is Your Chance.
I heard her being interviewed the other day. I'll send you the link. It's really good. And she's Geordie as well.
And I've kind of followed her stuff over the last year when she did Boss Babe stuff, and I was following some of her stuff, and I was like, oh my God, she's a Geordie. She's a posh Geordie, and she's a lovely posh Geordie. And I followed her stuff for a bit, and just this week, a friend of mine, Sophie Graydon, who's on Love Island, messaged me, random shout out that she was on Love Island, she was like, you need to speak to my friend Nick. And then we got on a Skype call over the last week, and she's absolutely lovely, and she sent me a book, and I've been reading it, and it's great. It's really, really good book. So yeah, there's so much out there, Nicky, isn't there, that books wise. And Marie Forleo TV, I watch that like all the time.
Oh, she's so good. And I think that's a really good thing, that if you're feeling stuck or overwhelmed, or you may have even been listening to this conversation and it may have triggered you, I'll be honest about that and think, it's all right for them, or I'll never be able to do that. You will. Like, just be bold and get what you need and take action. Where can people find you if they want to know more?
Okay, so IamHollyMatthews.com is my website. You can find me on YouTube, Holly Matthews Online. There's loads of free content on there where I'm talking about mindset stuff. You can also find me on Instagram, Holly Matthews 84. Twitter, Holly Matthews, Facebook / I am Holly Matthews. If you Google me and you cannot find me online, your internet is broken and you need to call somebody to fix that. But if you want to get involved with the Happy Me Project, the Happy Me Project online, obviously that's available to anybody, anywhere, anytime. It's £30, and you can go to IamHollyMatthews.com / the Happy Me Project. And I am doing workshops. I'll be doing them all over the country. I have not booked in. All my dates are sold out up until this point, which is fabulous. I'm going to.
It's so good.
And but I am going to book some more dates in. So message me, tell me where you are as well, because I'm trying to. If there's enough people in an area, I will go to that area, and we will about positivity and mindset, and we'll all feel great. And so I'm hollymatthews.com would be the main hub. You can find me there, and I'm across all social media. I'm a social media pig.
Pig in muck.
Yeah, absolutely.
I adore you. I think you're wonderful. Thank you. Thank you for everything. Well, not only thank you in this chat, but thank you for who you are in the world. You make people like me feel sane and understood, and like I'm not the only one. So thank you. Well, thank you, Nicky, and the feeling is absolutely mutual. Let's just, and to remind your listeners as well that, as you said, in the whole triggering thing, remember that both me and Nicky are also massive mess ups as well. So all that we do, we also look a mess. If you could see my house, you'd be, it's a disgrace. So don't feel bad. We get things wrong all the time, and we just pivot. Oh, and I was just thinking, actually, that we met, and we met, I don't know, 20 years ago or 15 years ago, whatever, but it was at a moment when our agent wouldn't pay us money. Do you remember?
It was. Yes, it was.
So that was a real boundary thing. So don't think that we've had all this stuff figured out all the time. Like, we had to take it to equity. Like, your dad was going to go around to a house.
He did. My dad went there. He went. I didn't go to a house, but he went there. We've had it all going on. We never, ever, ever get caught up in thinking that it has been plain sailing when you see the end product. No. Because everybody that has any kind of success, and you know, me and Nicky are still moving up, we're still doing the things that we want to do, but you know, whatever you see when you look at us now, there's been all kinds of chaos, and there continues to be. So never think it's perfectly polished, and I don't think either me or you put that out there anyway, Nicky, but just so people never feel that we're getting it wrong all the time. Sometimes we're overwhelmed, sometimes we mess up, and it's okay. Just get a cup of tea.
Often our houses look like we've been burgled.
Shook by a giant. That's why I think I don't think it's been a giant shook it.
Thank you. I will see you soon.
Love you, Nicky. Bye.
Thanks so much for listening to today's episode. If you haven't already, feel free to rate, review, and subscribe for all the brand new episodes. If you want to go deeper with my support, check out my freebies house and unlock the rooms you choose. nickyraby.com/freebies house. I also have workshops, programs, and one-on-one bespoke offerings. For prices, availability, or just to have a chat with me, go to nickyraby.com. Thank you, as always, for spending some time with me and my guests, and I'll see you next time.